on Monday, February 5th, 2018, and the Carroll City Council meeting is now in session. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please note everyone is in attendance. And our first item is our reports and continuation of the budget work session. And Mike.
So two things. First of all, in your packet, there was a chart that we included that was kind of based on some discussions we had. What this chart shows in the blue bars is the average home value that was reported by the county assessor for each jurisdiction. And then the red bars show the total taxes paid based on that average home value. So we've taken the city levy for each jurisdiction and calculated that out. And so you can see just a comparison on how these cities rank. And these are ranked highest Waverly in city tax down to Fort Madison, which would be the lowest city tax based on the home value. And Carroll, you can see, is kind of in that lower third area. So I don't know if there's any discussion, but this was a request that was made, and we're just distributing it out. The other item that was included in the packet, moving on unless there's questions, based on the January 29th discussion with Suzanne Gerlach with PFM, she did update the information. There's 3 new scenarios that was included to review and discuss tonight. Scenarios 1, 1A, 2, 2A, and 3 are unchanged from the material you've seen on the 29th. Previously, scenario 4 has been relabeled 4A so that all the projects that have an A except 3, because there's only one option there. So all the A's and then option 3 include all the rec center projects, and then just 1, 2, 4, and 5 would only include the pool and locker room improvements. So the new scenario 4 was a request to just exclude the East Side Gym, which we did. And then scenario 4 and 5A follow the same projects and timing as what you see in the respective 4 and 4A, except the maximum levy was increased from $1.76 to $1.80. Now, we did get some comments. Thank you to Councilmember Dirks for letting me know about some issues. And this was limited just to scenarios 3, 4, and 4A, and only affected exhibits 3.1, 4.1, and 4A1. There was revised exhibits passed out this evening. I would stress that all the summary, all the other pages were unaffected by this issue. But in scenario 3, under Exhibit 3.1, the last 2 fiscal years' debt payments were not added to the total, so the revised pages do that. Everything else was correct. In scenario 4 and 4A, under Exhibits 4.1 and 4A1, they were missing the final fiscal year of debt payments in 2039, 2040. So if you did look at the detail in Exhibit 4.4 and 4A4, you would have seen the debt payments there. It just wasn't listed on that summary page. That would also affected my memo that I wrote to council, because I noted that the last fiscal payment or the last debt payment would have been in fiscal year 2039. In reality, it's 2040. So I do apologize for that. I did note in my memo kind of a word of caution and regarding the Library City Hall referendum. The city did discuss during that referendum that we would keep bonding at $1.28, and that was really the information we were looking at. Scenarios 1, 1A, 2, 2A, and 3 are structured in such a way that the debt service levy will remain at $1.28 or below, related to both the Library City Hall project and the street maintenance building, and then only increases above that $1.28 if there's a voter-approved referendum for the recreation center. As presented in the book, scenario 4, 4A, 5, and 5A would require the council, if you followed the scenarios in the book, to raise the debt service levy for the Library City Hall project and the street maintenance building above that $1.28 before a referendum on the recreation center would occur. Clearly, there's advantages, there's less interest paid. Now, based on some commentary, again, from Councilmember Dirks, we did go back to Suzanne late this afternoon and asked, could a structure be obtained that the library, city hall project, and the street maintenance building could be structured in such a way that we keep it at $1.28 and still allow the rec center to be built in 2021 following kind of scenario 4A. So keeping that promise of the $1.28. And the answer is yes, in a scenario that she ran just very quick and dirty and not really for distribution because it could be, we haven't vetted it yet, literally had it for about a half hour now. It is possible to do that. Now it does impact by pushing back principal payments is what that would do. It would cause more interest to be paid over it. And it's about $358,000 to do that. So it is possible to do a scenario where we initially have, and actually throughout the entire debt issuance, have the library, city hall project, and the street maintenance garage to remain at $1.28 or less, but it would cause additional interest payments. So that's the new information that was in the packet. I'd be happy to answer any questions the best I can about the information Suzanne put together. And I would add, I guess we'd look for maybe a little bit of direction. Certainly a definitive decision doesn't need to be made this evening, but a little bit of direction of where the council would like us to go, and if there's a preferred scenario or two over the others. We'd appreciate that this evening.
I mean, I guess you look at it, you can either pay the $1.80 on the levy and certainly save a lot in principal and interest in comparison to the $1.28. We've had a levy upwards of over $2 at times. I mean, I know when we were looking at that before, if it was to $1.76, you're saving several $1 million for the taxpayer. But even though it's $1.76, it doesn't stay that level during the course over the years. It does come down. So.
Absolutely. I mean, you can see that in scenario 5A and 4A by just going from that $1.76 to $1.80, those initial payments. In the end, you're saving over $600,000 in taxpayer dollars. Now,
just
yes.
for the 4 cents.
What?
For the 4 cents.
Just for the 4
Just
cents.
for 4 cents.
Yeah.
I don't know, it makes sense to me to put our money into the bricks and mortar and not into inflation blue sky. And we know the more project costs, the larger the contingency, the larger all the fees. The fees are compounded, so they really add up quickly. And then the longer we bond, I mean, I kind of prioritized the variables we had to work with. And the key variable, it sounded like, as we discussed, was do we include all the projects for the rec center, including the gym, which is around $2 million, or do we go without the gym? And I think pushing it out is going to make it more expensive. I believe there is pressure on space at the rec center. And we talked about needing that space 10 years ago. And I just see it opening up potential. For me, I went through some of Suzanne's earlier information, and at one point back in March of 17, she gave us some bond scenarios, and it was just amounts issued in 18 and 21, and then we were kind of going to slot in the projects to fit the bond scenarios.
That was back when we were looking at the library.
Yeah. But it was really interesting because, well, I'll come right out and say, I look at it as pushing projects out and those inflationary costs, and then paying more and more interest the longer you run the bond issuance. It's like somebody with an out-of-control credit card, and they're paying, and you know, you're paying all this interest, and it just adds to the initial cost of whatever you're buying. But anyway, getting back very quickly, when we were looking at issuances in 18 and 21, and the one that caught my eye was a 20-year issuance, which I don't advocate for because of the huge amount of interest that was involved. The par amount of the bonds were 16 million, interest just under 8. But what I looked at was the total debt service in this scenario was 24.3. And I was comparing it to, I guess, based on what I just said, and I know the levy would have to go up, which is disconcerting to all of us. But we are bundling projects, and the people would have to approve the next referendum for the rec center. And so 5A, the total debt service is 21 million, a little over, and the levy is 180. So we're going up 50 cents over our $1.28, okay? She has, in this scenario, the estimated annual tax impact on a city resident. I wish I would have looked at this sooner. I would have asked for this information, but I know some of the information that went into her calculation would change, such as the rollback, but she figured for a total debt service of a little over 24.3 million, maximum tax rate of $1.81, the annual tax impact for a city resident, and this is for a house valued at $125,000, and then with the rollback of 56.9, which is our current rollback, the impact annually for that scenario is $37.72. So that's a lot of debt, I realize, but if we look at 5A, that's a lot of brick and mortar, under 10 million. Interest, we come up with the whole package, 21 million. I'm curious what our current situation would, what our estimated annual tax impact for a city resident would be. And I would like to know for 5A, because to me that is saving us over 600,000 over 4A, which is 1/3 the cost of the addition on the east side. I mean, I'm looking at ways where we put our money into actual amenities for the town versus paying interest or waiting for inflationary costs, which we all know where everything is heading. I'm looking at bang for the buck.
Right.
And so, anyway, to me, we're giving the taxpayer the most for his or her money in scenario A, because we're trying to hedge against inflation, and we're construction costs, and we're trying to hold down the amount of interest we have to pay. So, I know, looking at everything, I want to thank Laverne for catching that also. So, I guess maybe a little bit more information on what it would cost annually for a resident. I'd be interested in 5A. I don't know.
And that gets all, because that one gets all the projects done.
Yes, and in the near term. So they're up and going, you know, we're meeting demand, we're offering potential. We're giving people, like I said, the bricks and mortar instead of,
That gets the locker rooms redone.
yeah,
The addition
yeah.
of that, so the pool and the additional inside.
Yeah,
I guess another way to look at it is just how much are we saving the taxpayer? What's $600,000 to $150,000 or $125,000 house? You look at it a different way, and it's costing someone with, in a way, saving, plus getting bricks.
Right, well, and things that people will use, we want to build our tax base, we want to, generate, we want to bring in new residents. The rec center is very valuable, as the library is. And it's 40 years old. If we push it out, we're getting to the point, they were saying the stadium's 53 years old. Well, we need to take care of our rec center too. Think about
I mean, the
potential.
Park was even older than that. How long it took us to get there to get that done, so.
Yeah.
To your point, we pushed it out already, too.
Right, right. So, and I look at it, I went back and what we said, about, when we had the vote, and we said this well, here we go, under quick facts. Finally, with the current short and long-term debt being paid off in the near future, the city is able to construct the facilities, bank, city hall, if approved, without a tax rate increase. That was looking at where we were at then, the context of that moment. We hadn't gotten to a point of deciding about the maintenance building, again, how it was funded, what it's going to cost. So that is true at that point in time. And then later, it says this bond referendum will not require a tax increase. It won't. It's if we'll let the people decide if they want what they want to do about the rec. But I think it's smart to allocate our money into the building versus.
Right.
I don't
Rather
know.
than spending on interest payments.
Right. Or waiting for inflation, and then they're going to say, "Why'd you wait so long?"
Get less value.
People
for
are
your
smart. They know.
dollar. Get less value for your dollar the longer we wait.
Oh my gosh, yes. So, anyway.
So is everyone comfortable with 5A?
I'm undecided.
Okay.
I agree, it's the best bang for the buck. The problem I'm having is we campaigned the library to be $1.28 for the, the longevity of the bonds, and now here we're moving it right away.
Well,
If we can convince the people that, that's the smartest thing to do, I agree with you, Carolyn. It's just, I'm struggling with that idea of we've said this and now we're changing.
Well, we have already changed it. We've added in the youth complex lighting. We've added in the pickleball courts. We've added in the trails. We're bundling. And so the issuance isn't the 3.8, or, the 3.765 will go to the library city hall. But we are bundling projects to save in the long run, money. So the issuance isn't, we've already gone beyond the 3.8, we're at 4.435. So.
And I think.
I think people will get it, Laverne.
We just got to be careful and make sure that we really explain it well, why we're doing it. I agree, 5A is financially the best way. It's just, I'm just struggling.
To the point of the library and keeping the debt $1.28, I think it was, to me, it was that particular project. It was only the library. And that will not exceed, but now we're going to add a couple more projects to this. Now it will exceed that $1.28, yes, but to the point directed towards just the library. If we were only going to do the library, our debt service levy actually goes down. It won't get to the $1.28.
Well, it's a nuanced position, but what I would say, just again, we're structuring at least 4A, 5A in a way that it's not, to be honest, it's not being driven by the pickleball, the the lighting or those, or the trails, is being driven so that we are trying to front load the principal payments, we're not paying as much interest. We can, I mean, there is a scenario, there is the ability for us to structure it in such a way that we can keep it that $1.28 out of the gate, but it does cost us the interest.
Costs us
Yeah.
more.
Now, and I think to your point,
Well, and
it's just
you
a
said it better
person,
than I did, yeah.
a person that's paying a credit card bill, why do you want to pay the interest? Just
Oh, my
make the
gosh, you want
payments.
to
Right.
get it done and
Now-
save that money for something else.
The rec center project has been, I've been here 6 years, Carolyn's been here for 12. Mike have been here for 6. I mean, this has been going on long before we were ever up here. And now we have that pool area, that big project kind of finalized. I mean, it's something we can move forward with. We finally got that done. And it'd be nice to move forward with that. You know, it's giving it to the public and letting them, they're ultimately going to decide
That's right.
whether it
Yeah.
goes or not.
And the
That was
5A
gonna
will
be
still.
my point, is that it's
Right.
going to come back for referendum.
They're going to
The people-
decide.
yeah,
They will
get to
decide.
And if they
Right,
decide
right.
no, it's not going to affect it anyway, so.
Right.
And to that point of Laverne's, I think we have to make sure that the people do understand
Correct.
the wheres and whys of our recommendation, because I do
Why we're
agree.
pushing the projects
I-
now so that we can get them done.
Yes.
Right.
And I concur with 5A being the best value for our dollar. It's right there, it's just facts. Anytime you get principal and don't pay more interest, it's a better value.
Otherwise, you were looking at the rec center at almost 2023, another 2 more years or 2027. And now all of a sudden, your inflation of building costs have gone up, so you're paying more.
About a
Or
half a
possibly
million.
getting less.
It's about $500,000 a year on the rec center alone.
Right.
Yeah,
And I guess we don't need to make a decision on it, just kind of give you guys.
No, we just
kind of
need,
have it head in the direction.
I think the big thing, we're looking for direction. If there's additional information, we want to get that information to you so you can make those decisions. But if the structure of 5A is the direction you want to head, then we'll work with PFM as we move towards doing the library, city hall, and the park department capital improvement projects for 2019. We'll structure that to meet what looks like 5A today. And there's a lot of variables. I mean, the market is pretty unstable right now. We've seen that today. And going back to the scenario book you're looking at, an interesting point was, we were looking at a rate last March of 2.16. We're now looking at a rate of 2.52. That's a change of 36 basis points.
yeah.
So, I mean, same issuance period and everything, but that's just what the market's been doing.
Did you hear what Suzanne got for her?
Yeah, what did she tell us? We did ask her, and I can't remember what she told us.
It went up I don't remember the exact rates.
I'm curious to know too, but I don't know if it even matters now. A few months down the road, this could be a lot different, yeah.
Well,
It will
that
be
was, I
different.
think, one of the big fears of this sell-off was inflation
Yeah.
and rates going
Not
up, and
waiting.
people were afraid.
Yeah.
That market went up almost 2,000 points in less than 6 weeks. That's not, all of that was unsubstantiated. There was nothing, that was all just because everybody felt good, when there was no proof in the pudding why it went up that high.
One of the things that I've been thinking about, like 5A, we're all assuming, this rec center is going to pass.
That's right.
Right.
So I called Laura and I said, what if it doesn't pass? What will, the dollar figure be for the levy rate? And she said $1.05, right? Somewhere in there?
About $1, $2, $3.
Yeah.
You took out that payment for that first year. and
Yeah,
then just
we'd have a
$2.9.
couple payments done already on the library, a couple years done, because we have to commit to that. So then,
And then the 6-year one would come off shortly thereafter,
Yes.
because it would take, we have to wait 6 months between referendum votes if it doesn't pass.
right.
Yes.
So,
So it's not like we're stuck at a a higher dollar amount if it fails. If
No.
the referendum fails,
Well,
so you do
no.
drop.
Right, right. It only goes up if there's a positive referendum vote.
Well, it's going to go up the first 2 years, correct?
Yeah, and then it goes
Correct.
down.
Then it would go back.
Depending-
It goes, and then it goes down.
It's going to be, the library and the maintenance garage are going to be up, for the first 2 years, they're going to be at the $1.80.
Correct.
And then if it fails, then it's down to like,
Then it really drops by
down
way
like
back
to a
down,
dollar a
right?
nickel.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't intend for it to fail.
Well, I just wanted to know.
Yeah, I know, no, that's good, Laverne, you're keeping us, yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I was really looking at scenario 1A for the main reason of trying to keep the library and the maintenance garage at $1.28, which, well, not so much the maintenance garage, but the library is what we committed to the public, and we've changed that some, and then, just when the rec center comes up to vote, I was actually, I wanted to change it from 2023 to 2021 construction. But then the rec center is what it is. It's added on to that amount. But Mike did some calculations for me late in the afternoon, and that would cost us $300,000 in interest for me to do that. So
Yeah,
that's
and
changed
certainly
my
we-
mind already.
And certainly, we didn't run 5A. I would expect probably a pretty similar result. So now you're landing probably doing 5A, but landing probably more in the interest of 4A.
Okay, I see that.
That would keep you the
So
initial
it's
2
still another
years.
600,000.
It's not, yeah.
And remember, we're already at $1.28. This isn't adding $1.76 to the 128. This is 52 cents.
Yeah,
52
yeah.
You're better with the
Right,
math.
it is. Yeah, you're right.
So,
We're actually building the
we-
rec center for 50-some cents.
Yes, the
Yeah.
whole deal.
You're right, you're exactly right.
Over the course of the day.
Yeah, and then that's why it's interesting, and that's what the stadium people, they looked at, what is this gonna do? What are you getting for your money? What's it gonna cost you annually? And
We
that's a
got-
good thing to know.
We got time to think on this. I'm being sensitive to what the public voted on, but then I realize it's going to cost interest money by doing that. So we just have to make sure that we let them know our reason why.
See, and I share the same
Definitely.
concerns that Laverne does about what we told the public. And I guess where my peace of mind comes through is knowing that the public gets to vote on this. If they don't like it, if we don't sell it appropriately, it's in their hands.
Exactly. Yep, their decision.
Correct. And I look at it from that perspective too, and if there's a way to, you might have to swing that additional 50 cents, but if you're saving 3, 6, several $1 million over the life of these loans, and you get that project done a lot sooner, like I said, we've been talking about these projects for decades, and finally you're getting it together to get it done. And, you discuss those situations with the $1.28 at that particular moment. And now all of a sudden you've got now another thing of information in front of you. Now, another month from now, we might have different information. But all in all, it still goes to the public to get their approval.
And to that point, I told members of the public that we can keep the levy rate at the same amount that it's at. We can. It's here, we have
Mhm.
that option. 1A is that option. But there is a cost associated to that later on, for which we're not getting any hard assets or hard value back.
Right.
So, yeah, it's the people's choice. We can do what we said and do the 128 if that's what they desire, but I would be very surprised if for 50 cents anybody's gonna tell us to not plow forward.
You can pay down the principal faster.
Oh, yeah.
You will pay a lot less in interest.
And
Exactly.
in
The $1.28 is
construction
going to
costs.
cost you more in the long run than putting it to $1.80.
Exactly right.
I mean, we could go so far as to pay it faster, go to $2. But
Yeah, I know.
by that same logic, but, I think if you can keep it under $2, I think we're better off.
Pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
we'd still float pretty low in the comparison chart to other cities.
Correct.
And stay
Well,
very
she said what
competitive.
Waukee and Grimes are,
Yeah.
210, 220, 230, in that range, if I'm not mistaken.
Want more?
Do you want to give us a motion on direction?
We don't have to decide between scenario 5 and 5A at this point, right? And Mike had some interest in scenario 5 without the,
Oh, without the,
Without the east side,
right. Or do you need that decision too?
Well, it is going to affect the structure of how we would structure the project. So certainly if we don't do the East Side Gym, we would structure the library component differently to take advantage of some interest savings.
See,
what
I
what do you
would-
mean by that? That we would pay that quicker, you mean?
Yes, we'd pay stuff
Down the
differently.
road.
At least that's how it's laid out in Suzanne. I mean,
It
5 and
wouldn't change
5A
the first
don't.
couple of years, it would just change after the.
Yeah.
And I do have reservations about the gym, but I would rather see it structured with it in there and have to scale back than try and add on.
one of the things that we could do, Mike, is put the whole project out there, and if it fails, cut that part off, and let's get the pool part done.
Yeah.
And at least we can, match the figures and go accordingly, but at least the pool and the locker rooms, which really needs the update, is what gets done ultimately.
But this is the most
Yeah.
economical way to get it all done.
It is.
For the
Right.
tax,
It
I mean, it's for
absolutely is.
for the citizens' benefit, I
And,
think.
my reservations, honestly, I haven't gotten feedback from anybody in town on it. This could just be my sole perception.
Sure.
Like I said,
And that's
why I'd
perfectly
like to
good.
see,
That's okay.
let's throw it in there and see how it
Yeah.
comes out. And like I said,
Yeah.
if we need to scale back, we can.
Sure.
Right.
Well,
So,
This type of bundling is what we've really worked towards across the last several years in order to bring a best value to the people of Carroll. Whereas when we looked at the locker rooms alone and trying to update them, we all had a great big goal when we saw the price tag to do that. We really can give better value to the people by putting together the entire package of the gym, pool, locker rooms, get it together and give them the chance to tell us, what do you want?
so do you need a motion to
It'd be
move
nice.
forward with 5A? I'll make that motion.
I
and
like
then-
motions, by the way.
Yeah, motions. Okay, and if we could have Suzanne pursue 5A and give us what she believes the annual impact on a city resident will be, as she did in this previous. Could you-
So I can tell you, if I use the highest value home, which we had in here, which would have been $160,500.
Yeah.
52 cents would be 43,090 cents a year.
That's a lot of money.
No, you said that wrong.
What?
Yeah,
What?
You said that
So
wrong.
a $160,000 house.
Yeah,
If you 52-cent additional increase in the debt service levy, would be $43.
43, you said
Oh, you said
43,000.
I thought, I'm moving.
We're gonna have that debt paid off in 4 years.
You got that on film, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, 43, thanks.
That'll be the outtake.
$43 a
$43.
year?
$43.90.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Good Lord.
I would like to second Carolyn's motion for
I'm sorry.
5A.
For what part of it?
Not the
Not your
43
part.
gajillion pennies or whatever that was there.
All right, sorry. I'm just making sure everyone's on their toes.
No, thank you.
Yeah, good.
Thank you.
Well, we have a motion and a second to move forward with scenario 5A. Cox?
Yes.
Fleshner?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Bates? Yes. Haley?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Were there any other, did we have anything to follow up with the remainder of the budget? I thought we had pretty much everything done.
We had, I think, presented all the departmental budgets. It's a matter of other questions, additional questions, follow-up, stuff with it. hoping that tonight we can wrap up, and if council is okay with this, with the one change that we will make of reallocating $125,000 to, we have to cover a little over $12,000 in some engineering fees that were originally done for the
Street signs.
Entrance signs.
Entrance signs.
the entrance sign, excuse me, yes, thank you. And then the remainder, that 125 minus that 12,000 some odd $100, the remainder of that money will then get transferred to the street maintenance project.
That's okay.
If that's okay, we'll make that change. And then this is a chance to, if there's any other questions, any other changes you want to see made. Otherwise, at next council meeting, we'll bring the notice of calling for a public hearing, and then that will set our maximum dollar amount, excuse me, our maximum expenditure limit, as well as the levy rate.
I'm good.
I would just like to see a very clear way that we can explain to the public, you know, that we went up a little bit, 2% on residential and what, 5% on commercial? You know, based off the library passing, you know, the debt service went down, but yeah, you had an increase, and because of the reasons why. You know, if that can just be made clear, then they would understand.
Yeah.
I do like that last chart that you got for us, that you talked about. I think that's the best chart yet, because that's the true value. If you look at that, the cities that have the blue line that's above the red, they're the ones that are doing the best per value, and we're part of that.
We should,
Oh, yeah.
we should definitely make sure that the members of the press know that we really like that and would like people to see that.
Well, and you know, one of the things that popped out is, you know, Pella is always one we try to strive
Right,
towards
right.
to, because we look at their levies so much lower, but when you actually take into account what the average value home is, their taxes their residents are paying, you know, it is a couple $100 more. You know, so those are things that doesn't always come out in just a levy.
Yeah, I like that chart, you know, somehow we could get that published with, you know, with what we got.
They can
Pressure.
find it online,
They
it's
can
on
find
our website.
But I mean, you know,
If you hadn't
we're just
said
being
those
really
pictures-
transparent with the public
Yep.
by doing that. And
It's
where
really
we're at, where's,
interesting.
you know, this is where Carroll is at, even though some people think we're really,
Gouging.
yeah, really
We're
high
getting a
compared
lot
to
of
the other
value.
cities our size, but the graph shows it. And this is a true
Front
one
page
here.
color in the paper would be awesome,
That
wouldn't it?
would
Above
be
the fold.
nice.
You're getting all this down, Rebecca, right now.
I got it all down.
Okay. Quit picking on me.
I've said enough.
Yeah, and to that point, the agenda, or not only the agendas, but also this whole city budget is available for anyone in the public to view. And really, this is transparent. This is your city. If you have questions, hit up the budget. If you need clarifications, call Mike. Or me. Well, any of us will help out at City Hall. Seriously, if you have questions and want to know where your money's going, if you get that tax bill and you're curious about how that relates, hit me up. We'll help you.
Yeah, and I would just add to that note, we've worked on, with Laura, to get more of our financial stuff on our website. So cityofcarroll.com/finance, you'll find our audit, our budget books, different forms from the state, takes you right to the state auditor, budget and management, just to get directly from them even some of the information on us.
And
So
you said
try-
that's under finance, I'm sorry.
So
under
cityofcarroll.com/finance.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
What was the office that you got the information from? You said Office of Management?
Department of Management.
Department of Management, okay, thanks. Okay.
This information here, we had to call, and this was a project we did a few months ago, but we actually called every county assessor and asked them what, for each of these cities, what was the average value. So this
Oh, wow.
took some work.
Yeah.
Kelly did this for us, but this
Well,
took
thank
this
you.
took a little bit
Yeah.
of work.
Yeah, that's great.
Do we ever have interns that do projects like that come through the city at all?
We have interns once in a while, it's just a matter of if those projects are known at the time they're with us to do
It's
something like
nice
that.
I mean, I've had interns, and every time I get one, I have something ahead of time that they're gonna do, that they're gonna bite into and fix that will benefit not just me, but customers.
Right.
Then they get to see where they produce something, so
Right.
certainly, I'm not against having interns. I've got great experience with them. I hope the city feels the same way
Yeah.
when it's presented to them. Yeah.
You know, it's things like this, examples where the staff has pulled together information and worked together, that reminds me to thank each and every one of you. We've just gone through an intense budget setup that we've spent 3 different meetings at as council people. Your staff here at the city has spent months preparing this, getting everything put together, coordinating with other bodies, with PFM and other groups to really make this work. And thank you all for what you do, especially you, Laura.
Yeah, this wasn't made overnight.
No,
I just looked at the finance, what you're referring to, Mike, and it looks great.
yeah.
It's very complete.
And you can drill that by going to the City of Carroll homepage, government, and then finance is in there. You're right there, I'm looking at it too.
So next Monday, we'll set the public hearing date.
Do you need a motion to set that?
Then.
Or
No.
next Monday?
That- on that
Next Monday
is
we'll
what
do that, yeah.
Somebody will set
Are there any other questions for Laura or Mike, or Chief, Jack, Randy? Rachel? Nothing? If not, I'll need a motion to adjourn.
Oh, real quick before
Oh,
we
yeah,
do
yeah,
that.
I'm sorry.
I read in the paper Rebecca won 6 awards for
Yeah, I saw
her
that.
reporting. Congratulations. That's
There you go.
it.
I'll give you- As red as we can get you tonight.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Real quick comment too.
Yes, sir.
I've said this to Mike a couple times, and just kind of want to echo what Clay said. I know you guys changed the format up on the budget a little bit for us this year, and it's really greatly appreciated. It really made the process a lot easier, especially for me. So appreciate all the extra work that you guys put into it.
Yeah, it's a completely different format, and it just, rather than sitting there flipping the book back and forth, it was all right there on one.
It's obvious you guys know your departments, you know your budget books, you know all that stuff inside and out. For
Yeah.
those of us that don't work it daily, it definitely made it easier.
It's still good to have, it's good to have both.
Yeah.
Because it's
Exactly
good to see the history and the ups and the downs and the, yeah.
Very good. Anything else? One more time? Going once, going twice?
Motion to adjourn.
There you go. Thank you.
Seaman?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Rock?
Yes.
Fleischner?
Yes.
Base? Yes. We are adjourned.